Good noontime. It's about dead center, top dead center here in the desert. And it's still pasty white out there. It's raining. The clouds come and go. The rain sprinkle a bit and goes away, but this is not going to dry out for a while. I want to talk to you about violence. I'm not advocating for it whatsoever at all because I think it's a sucker punch sort of thing. In other words, they're trying to sucker punch us. They want to hit us, but if they can provoke us to hit them first, then they'll have total license and excuse to pull out all the stops and really go to town on us. That's what they want. They want us to give them license to go after us. This is a concerted effort around the world. It's not just the United States, but the United States is the one that they want to take down first. In their order of things, that's their priority, is to take down America, and then the rest of their world is theirs. Who are they? Well, it's a group that's been hiding behind the scenes for a long time. And if you're watching my channel, you probably have an inkling of who they are. Now, I can't identify them all. I don't know them all. But what we do know is this. They're creating disparities, artificial disparities, around the world in the Western civilization and in free nations. And this is an attack upon Western civilization. And we have been built up. They've done a major psyop on us. They turned us all into a bunch of narcissists. We are the biggest and the best and the greatest, and nobody compares to us. Nobody can touch us, which is a big lie. And they also say that we're the free nations. We're the free world, which is another big lie. We are held hostage by these governments and institutions we've allowed to blossom up and get really big. They're way too big. And they're out of control. And of course, it's self-reinforcing because one government agency wants to grow more. They don't want to give up anything. Whereas many of these government agencies need to be just totally dismantled, not funded, liquidated. Yeah, that's the word, liquidated. You know, they need to be taken to the cleaners and sold on the market for whatever they're worth. And they ain't worth much. That's what I mean by liquidated. So don't misinterpret that as being offing people or anything like that. Right now, in the United Kingdom, the guests are being treated better than the people are. The guests are lining up in the food lines. And, no. The people are lined up in the food lines was the report I got earlier today. Standing in line for hours to get a little bit to eat. Whereas the guests are given a free ride and they can buy whatever they want because the government's providing the largesse for them. The same thing, the same conditions are in the United States and probably every other Western civilization at this point. So the government has purposely designed up, crafted up these disparities, major disparities, for the purposes of creating social unrest. Because if you're having trouble feeding yourself, keeping the roof over your head, but yet you have neighbors who are guests of the country for whom they've rolled out the royal red carpet and they're living high on the hog, those disparities will become more apparent, and they are done on purpose. Why? Why would they do that? Their goal is very simple. They want to take us down. They want us rioting. They want us rebelling. They want us fighting one another. They want us doing bad stuff. Well, I won't do it. I mean, as angry as I get, as mad as I get, I won't do it. I hope I have the wherewithal to defend my very life. If I'm called to do that, if that's required of me, I hope I can do that. But other than that, I'd like to be able to get a little bit of justice, but there's no justice in the United States of America anymore. Don't kid yourselves. Justice in this country, you've got to have big bucks in the bank and be able to hand them over at any time. So we are poor people in America. The definition of poor people in the Bible, and this is giving psychology away, but the definition of being a poor person, if you look at the Bible carefully, you realize, you soon come to understand, it means defenseless. You are unable to defend yourself. That makes you a poor person. Now, if you're wealthy, then you could afford to hire attorneys and piss off $20,000 or so to get the ball rolling. And they can run up the bills much higher than that. So easy for them, it's not funny. Apparently, I got an attorney bill, and big one in Texas. I couldn't believe it when I saw it, but okay. He's keeping track. I hope we come out okay on it. I realize he's going to be taking... It's a lot of money. Anyway, there's no justice in the United States of America anymore. The people do not rule here at all. Not at all. Not whatsoever. We don't even get to elect our people anymore. We can't even choose. Well, we are being told who's going to be running, and we're being dictated who our choices are. And I don't see any good choices. Everyone I see out there that's possibly running for president is an Israel firster. They'll say America first, but I think by that they mean we take down America first for the masters of the New World Order. We don't need a government like this. We need to return to self-rule. We need to revolve. That's what our revolution stood for, was revolving, coming back around to the self-rule we once had. We can do that again. It's going to be hard. It's probably going to take a few generations to effectuate it properly. However, Creator Father God Yahweh has a few things up his sleeve, and he has some things in mind that are going to affect everybody. We might even get a visitor. We might even get saved that way. Help to a large extent. You need to understand something. They're trying to get us to fight one another. They want us to rebel against them. Our police are being trained in horrible fashions. The police, I heard, are being trained in some sort of inclusion sort of stuff, whereby people are targeted, sized up. I guess I should say subjects, because that's what the police do. They objectify us, and they refer to us as subject, whatever, subject this, subject that. They depersonalize us, and then they can use their real weapons on us. And a weapon has a legal definition in the old law books. I don't own any weapons, certainly none that I know of. A weapon has been used in the commission of a crime. I buy most of my guns new. I don't think they've been used at all. So I don't think I have anything that's ever been used in the commission of a crime. So when asked, do you have a weapon? The proper answer is no, I do not. And if it's law enforcement in Alaska or in another state that requires you to advise law enforcement of your possession of a firearm, I won't use the word gun. Police are trained to shoot upon that word gun. It's a nasty word. It'll get you killed. They scream gun, and then they all unload their guns on you. It's like, oh boy, we're all going to worship at the altar of the demons right now and take an innocent life again. And we'll justify it in our paperwork. We'll back each other up. And we don't have to worry, because the others investigating it will back us up. And when we go to court, the judge will back us up as well. You need to pay attention if you're involved with the police and you're stopped. Do not ignore them. If they give you orders, you're best off complying unless you know it's violating your rights. And then you can tell them, no, you're not going to do that. It's a violation of my rights. Go get a search warrant. Or if you have a warrant for my arrest, fine. If you're not going to detain me, have a good day. If you're detaining me, okay, I'll wait. What can you say? What can you do? The most important thing is to survive that contact. And the most important thing is for the officer to be in control, to feel safe and secure, to know that they're going to go home safe to their family. And then an officer can afford to be generous with you. He can afford to give you some latitude. He might even just give you a warning on something you've done that he could charge you for. Who knows? But be polite, not overly polite, but be polite. Be as honest as you can be. If you don't want to answer a question or don't think you need to answer it, just say, I don't think I need to answer that. I think I would need to ask my attorney about that or have my attorney answer that, for me. So if you don't mind, I'll be silent now and just wait. A decent officer is going to make sure you're in touch with your attorney and everything can be satisfied. I've seen videos of police handling some people very well lately. I'm just amazed at their patience. I am. I look at it and think, man, if I was in that position, I'd get so frustrated. But of course, these guys and gals are actually pretty well trained in some jurisdictions anyway. And they've got cameras on them and they know they're being recorded. I think some of them are still a little bit too flippant. But that's personality style. I don't think that's a violation of law or rights necessarily, but I want you to understand they're trying to create chaos and they're going to continue to put pressure on us. These countries of ours, this world, it's going to become a pressure cooker. They're going to increase the pressure more and more. They want to cook us. They're doing it on purpose. All of these policies, they've got psychologists in the background engineering these psychological operations for the full effects that they want. And so they're set up. A lot of it's set up to entrap you. You have to be careful in many jurisdictions because in a lot of states, the number one business, the number one employer that brings in all the money into the state coffers are their prison systems. So they are rewarded. They're given more money by the central government than what it costs them to house the inmate. They're given all kinds of money to cover all of their expenses. And of course, the central government just prints it out of thin air, just creates it on computers, digits on a computer. And so they've got all the money in the world to use against us. And they just devalue our own currency more to use it against us. And as far as your Second Amendment goes, you really don't have the Second Amendment. You don't have the Second Amendment because as far as I know, there's no militia anywhere in the country. It says we're supposed to have a militia. Where's the militia? And the militia, generally speaking, as it was chartered up in every state, especially the original colonies, was every able-bodied man above the age of 20 or 21 or whatever it was for that state. We don't have those anymore. This central government saw fit to take those away from us and give us professional police. Happened about the same time, 1902. Your police started up. And of course, the police don't have the authority. It's the sheriffs that have the authority. And of course, the sheriffs will give that authority to the police. They all work together. And we have some really difficult laws now. But do not challenge a police officer. Don't cop an attitude. Those people that get themselves beat, killed, cop an attitude with the cops. And of course, the blacks want to say Black Lives Matter and that the blacks are getting shot up by the police, getting massacred. It's not true. The numbers aren't there. If we look at the numbers, the rate at which black gentlemen are killed by police is pretty small. Yeah, there might be a dozen. I don't even think a dozen in a year. Some of those turn out to be justifiable, some of them aren't. And most of those are prosecuted these days. Why? Because you put a cop in prison, you get money off them too. They make money off men's souls. They trade in men's souls. We have got the beast system going. You know, the Roman system was pretty big. You could do everything in Rome. You just had to pay the taxes to do it. You had to pay the license fees to be able to do it. You could do whatever you wanted, but you had to be licensed by the state. And so it was an unending number of little paper cuts, if you will, little tiny cuts, little tiny taxes pulled off of everything. And that's the way it is in the States today. Our government is far too big, and yet it doesn't do its job. We have an FBI that refuses to solve crimes, like the shooting in Las Vegas. They never solved that crime. They covered that up. Even your president didn't even care to solve that. Your president didn't care about that one. Instead, he decided he didn't like the bump stocks. He wanted to take those away. There were no bump stocks used in Las Vegas. Those were full automatics, not selective fire. I heard 4-round bursts all over the place. Who knows, maybe it was special effects from Hollywood, because it was always four gunshots in a row, 4 quick shots, and I'm thinking, my God, that's a very well-trained shooter. He shoots the same every time. And there were several teams of shooters going on. That guy in the hotel room was their patsy that they set up to blame it on. We still don't know the truth about Las Vegas. And you want Trump again for president? Look, I understand things were better under him. I understand he was the people's choice. And he probably still is the people's choice. I don't think it's a very good choice. I don't see anybody better. But if we get him in office, we need to hold his feet to the fire. No more of this Israel first bullshit. It's got to be America first. And since he understands the money system, why didn't he come out and tell us the truth about this monopoly money, this horrible enslavement system, this money magic that came out of Babylon? Why didn't he tell us the truth, that they had stolen everything through a series of frauds? Why didn't he put into place proper currency like John F. Kennedy did? Oh, he doesn't want to be assassinated like John F. Kennedy was. Folks, we have to do some things at the state level. Putting gold and silver back in circulation as legal tender is an excellent idea. And then gradually getting rid of the paper money, the monopoly money. They're not even Americans who benefit from that, who own that. Yeah, there's a couple maybe, but for the most part, they're British. For the most part, they're banksters. Some of them are German, some of them are French. Nathan Rothschild sent his boys all over the place. What did he have, 4 or 5 of them? He sent them to the capital cities. What a master plan. What a masterful plan. His idea was, in the long run, over several generations, they would own it all. And the rest of us would own nothing. That is a Rothschild there who tells you, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. That's what they have planned for us. We need to reverse engineer what they've done as best we can. Get rid of those parts of government that were created last that aren't necessary, that are superfluous. Do we need an FBI? They won't solve the crimes. It seems like they might even be killing witnesses, perpetuating crimes. So what do we need them for? Yes, I understand there'll be some people that have to take their place. How about the militias? How about the sheriffs? The state police? You see, policing, policy making was reserved to the states. Central government got way out of hand. And I thought that they had made that a separate kingdom, if you will, a separate jurisdiction in 1871. It turns out it was made a foreign jurisdiction when they created that central bank, chartered it under the King of England, gave him control over everything so that we could do commerce with the rest of the world, so the United States of America could open up for business. Sorry for the lighting, I don't like it much either. Usually I would have the awning out, but the winds might come up at any moment. And that would give us a little bit more color, a little less saturation when it comes to the overexposure of this light, this flat lighting from the clouds. It's starting to rain again softly. I like that sound. I need you to understand, your buttons are being pushed on purpose. Your buttons are going to be pushed even more. Don't let anybody push your buttons. I let somebody get the best of me on the phone a little while ago. He wouldn't address the issue. So I filed a Better Business Bureau complaint against him and his business. I know they'll handle it with aplomb. I mean nothing to them. They have well-heeled people that go into that place. And I had to abide by the Better Business Bureau terms to file the complaint that I would not be able to post a complaint openly there in the Better Business Bureau against them now that I filed a complaint with the Better Business Bureau. Okay, I have my own blog. I can do it myself. I can control it and it will stay up. And I can put the truth right up there for everybody to see. And of course, I look like a fool because I did business with them for way too long. If I tell you the full story, you'll tell me you should have stopped doing business with them a long time ago. Well, I can't find anybody that does good work in the Phoenix area on RVs. It seems like they're all crooked. The one fellow I reached out to, I thought was honest, said he couldn't take the work. Okay, fine. Send me to somebody that's good. However, I do have a good family business out here that's really nice and honest people. And I only went to this other place because these people didn't work on hydraulics. Now they got a guy to refer to that's really good at it. Anyway, I didn't want to go back to that place because they treated me poorly, but it was a hydraulics issue and I couldn't get the expertise on that. And that place does handle electrical stuff, complex electrical stuff rather well. The work they do, it's been good, but they haven't handled things properly. They're not responsible for anything. They didn't repair my toilet, and the guy knew it. And when I called later, I drove off. That was my mistake. When I called later that afternoon, I was told I'd have to wait again and get in again, and I'd have to pay a full price. They weren't going to take into consideration the $300 or $400 I already paid, so I ended up with a $900 toilet. This rig is built better than the new rigs. It's got a steel roof in it. That was a surprise to discover. It's got the last of the good engines in it. You know, these other rigs have got these V10s in them, and they don't do very well. They're notorious for popping plugs out. You got to rev them way up to get some power. On the other hand, I got a big cast iron block V8, cast iron heads, cast iron block. It's good to have similar metals because they expand the same rate and contract at the same rate. So it's not an aluminum head with a cast iron block or all aluminum. It's a damn good engine. It just likes gas. Okay. And the whole thing's good for another 50,000 miles before I have to do a timing chain on it. So what? What I pray for is the latitude to accept the losses and to move on. Yeah, I yelled at him because he wouldn't hear me. He wouldn't listen to anything I said. I did call up, and they sent me over to the parts guy, and they let it go to their recording service. He was supposed to get back with me last Thursday. It's Wednesday. I guess they have no answers. So I've got to spend the money to get these parts fabricated now so I can get the hydraulic jack put back on. And that is something that I want to recover. And I'll recover it in court if I have to. I don't like doing that. It's a stressful thing, but, these people have been very, very rude. I think their tech destroyed my steps on purpose. In his frustration, he jumped at my steps. Why was he frustrated? Because he didn't get the parts right, the part numbers right, and the part that came in that he ordered was the wrong jack for my motorhome. And he was pissed. Oh, and they charged me an hour of labor for him to get in there and read the part number properly. It was a half-hour job to begin with, and they charged me a full hour for it the first time. Then they charged me another hour for their mistake. They're not responsible there. That's RV Renovators in Mesa, in case you're wondering. They're across the street from Camping World. They are better than Camping World. I will hand that to them. They're much better than Camping World. I've had to have them correct some things that Camping World just didn't get right. That location of Camping World, I think, is cursed, by the way. I don't recommend it at all. Anyway, I want you to do the same prayer I do. There's going to be a lot of losses. Lord, give me the strength so I can manage the losses, handle the losses, and survive it, and just move on. Here I am at 70, and my father's advice comes to mind better than any other time before in my life. And that advice was, it takes a bigger man to walk away from a fight. Well, the people at RV Renovators are not big at all. Big crooks, not very honest. They won't take responsibility. They're weird people down there. I won't let them work on my rig. And when I get another rig, I won't go there either. I'm going to find somebody better to go to. The people in Indiana are pretty good. They charge just a little bit less for the labor. I'd love to go to the people that are down over in Alabama. I hear they're excellent. I've even heard of good techs in Mississippi. I've heard of good techs in Nevada and Oregon. Networking pays. I want to have good support. I like to take good care of my stuff. Anyway, I've got to go and take a phone call. I'll talk with you all later.